Please, if you are for the program, this lecture, and you are in the hall, we want you to please find your way to the front. Please, yes, find your way to the front so that we can start. In the next 1 or 2 minutes, we will be starting. But please, if you are here already, ensure that you find your way to the front so that those people that will come will not be disturbing as they arrive. Please. Thank you. Yes, sir. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, may we now rise for the national anthem and thereafter the university anthem. UI anthem, please.
Thank you.
On behalf of the management, staff and students of the Faculty of Science, University of Ibadan, I warmly welcome you all to the maiden edition of the Faculty of Science Alumni Lecture. Today's lecture, entitled Science, the Heartbeat of Entrepreneurship, Innovation, and Sustainable Development, will be delivered by an illustrious alumnus of the Premier University, Dr. Olayiwola Francis Fatona. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we have here with us, as the chairman of this occasion and the Vice Chancellor of the University of Ibadan, Professor Kayode Oyebode Adebowale, MNI, FAS, being ably represented by the Dean, Faculty of Science. I present to you Professor A.A. Bakare. On his head, you may not see a physical cap, but of course you know that he's wearing double cap today, maybe more than. So, with us today also, we are privileged to have the 12th Vice Chancellor of this great University of Ibadan. So I present to you Professor Abel Idowu Olayinka. We also have here the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic, Professor Aderonke Bariroju, ably represented by the Dean, Faculty of Basic Medical Science. I present Professor Yeronke Odunla. We also have the Chairman, Faculty of Science, Alumni Relation. I present to you Professor O.A. Ehiola. I also have the privilege of presenting to us the Dean-elect, Faculty of Science, Professor O.O. Shonibare. Also here, well, maybe in absentia, or we're still expecting them, the representative of the ND Western Nigeria Limited, Mr. Feromi Kehinde. Are you in the hall? Not yet. And Ms. Mobola Sodiq. Okay, please, let's put our hands together for those ones. Now, for this round, I therefore have the privilege of presenting to you the man we have all come to listen to, the lecturer, the guest lecturer of today. I present to you once again, Dr. Olayiwola Francis Fatona. We are going to handle further recognition, but that will be after the welcome address by Professor O.A. Ehiola.
The Chairman, the Vice Chancellor, University of Ibadan, Professor Kayode Adebowale, MNI, FAS, ably represented by the Dean of Science, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Administration, Professor Ezekiel Ayola, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic, Professor Aderonke Bariroju, ably represented by the Dean of Biomedical Science. The Deputy Vice Chancellor, Research, Innovation, and Strategic Partnership, Professor Oluyemisi Bangboshe. Chief Host, the Dean, Faculty of Science, Professor Adekunle Bakare, FAS. Guest Lecturer, Dr. Olayiwola Fatona, FNAPE, FNMGS, Doctor of Science, University of Ibadan, Doctor of Science, Osun State University. faculty, staff, and students, Faculty of Science alumni in Nigeria and in diaspora, gentlemen of the press, and other invited guests. I would like to start by returning all the glory to God for making this day a reality. What started 4 years ago has today becoming something worth celebrating as we all gathered for the first edition since University of Ibadan was founded in 1948. The Faculty of Science is one of the pioneering, I think it's second, that was started in 1948. It gives me the great pleasure to welcome you all to the Faculty of Science Alumni Lecture Maiden edition of the Nigerian Permanent University. On behalf of the local organizing committee, staff and students of the Faculty of Science, permit me first to thank our guests and members who have taken the pains to travel long distances down to Ibadan, especially at this critical point when per liter is becoming something else, to participate in this lecture. I particularly welcome our 2021-2022 graduating students from Faculty of Science that will be inducted today as alumni members. Let me assure them that a lot of pleasant surprise await them as a result of their participation in this and other future alumni lecture. On behalf of the LOC again, I would like to appreciate our amiable Dean, Professor A.A. Bakari, for the first sight and support that he has given us so far. I also want to appreciate the immediate past chairman of the Alumni Faculty of Science Relation, Professor G.O. Adewoye of Chemistry Department, who happened even to be our consultant in this journey. The Faculty of Science alumni is growing in leaps and bounds, fulfilling some of the cardinal purposes for which it was founded. I would like to thank every member of the LOC for giving me the opportunity to steer the ship of the committee for the past 8 months. I sincerely pray that God will continue to increase us on all fronts. Once again, you are welcome and God bless. Thank you very much.
I believe we can do better than that. Let's give our hands together for the chairman LOC. It's a common statement that a committee that is not coordinated will commit crime. I believe the Dean of Science has put in place a good committee. Can we put our hands together for them once again? Thank you, sir, for that speech. Before we move into the next item on the program, I quickly want to recognize some few individuals, significant individuals among us this morning. First on my list is the person of Professor John Adeyinka Adekoya, FAS. You're welcome, sir. We also have in our midst this morning Professor Sam Olusegun Akande, FAS. I want to quickly just recognize the presence of the Director, University Health Services, Dr. Ajaf. You're welcome, man. And I also want to recognize all our professors in the Faculty of Science that are in this house this morning. Please, you can just wave your hands. We will celebrate you. You're welcome. And quickly, without wasting time, all heads of department in the Faculty of Science, please, if you're in the house, wave your hands. We welcome you too. Greatest Nigerian students. Our students are not here. Greatest Nigerian student. Ever conscious Nigerian student. Greatest Gbogbo. That Gbogbo is not sounding scientific. Greatest Gbagba. Please put your hands together for yourself. You're welcome. Without wasting time, because we are not here to waste your time this morning, I'm moving to the next program, and that is opening remark from the Dean of Science, Professor A.A. Bakari. Let us celebrate our Dean as he gives his speech.
Thank you very much, Dr. Femi Oyamaki. The Vice Chancellor, Professor K.U. Adeboale, FAS MNI, ably represented by the Dean of the Faculty of Science, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Administration, Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academics, ably represented by my dear sister, the Dean of the Faculty of Basic Medical Sciences, Professor Oyerunke Odunola, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, RISP. I recognize specially the immediate past Vice Chancellor of UI, Professor Abel Idowu Olayinka. Oga, you are welcome, sir. The Dean-elect, Faculty of Science, Professor O.O. Shonbare, thank you for coming. Deans of other faculties, I recognize the Director of UIHS, Dr. Aderunke Ajab, heads of departments here present, and I especially recognize the HOD of the guest lecturer. Is the HOD of those who have passed out in the last 50, 40 years, Professor Benga Okulola. You are welcome, sir. Distinguished professors from the Faculty of Science, you are all recognized. I also recognize two fellows of the Academy of Science here, Professor Adekoya and Professor Akande. You are welcome, sir. Thank you for joining us, sir. Our distinguished lecturer, Dr. Olaiwola Francis Fatono, FNAPE, FNMGS, DSC University of Ibadan, and DSC Osun State University. You are welcome, sir. Colleagues from in and outside the Faculty of Science, members of the Alumni, Science Alumni Relation Committee, I recognize the faculty officer, Mrs. Olaitan Odedele. Thank you for putting this together. Our dear students, greatest Nigerian students, thank you very much. Gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and I must not but recognize all those who have joined us virtually. This is being streamed live via Zoom and via YouTube. People are watching and they have joined from in and outside Nigeria. We thank you all for associating with the Faculty of Science, University of Ibadan. It is with honor and great pleasure that I welcome you to this maiden edition of the Faculty of Science Alumni Lecture. I am especially glad to welcome our guest lecturer, a great alumnus and benefactor of this faculty, Dr. Olaiwola Francis Fatono. Before this period, the faculty used to organize annual Science Alumni Summit, where we used to induct our graduating students into the Alumni Association of the faculty. The first was in 2018, when Professor F.O. Ogundare was the dean. I couldn't attend that particular program because it coincided with the first alumni homecoming in zoology department, where I was the head of department. I participated fully in this event as the HOD of zoology. The COVID-19 pandemic and industrial action in 2020 and 2021 respectively pushed the third edition to January 2022. And at the 2022 edition, we had a highly experienced and well-traveled C-level business leader as our guest lecturer, and he gave a presentation entitled, "The Big What Next?" However, so far, we have not had an alumnus of the Faculty of Science as a guest lecturer. Today's program is unique in that we are formalizing the annual alumni guest lecture, where a faculty alumnus would be engaged yearly to present a lecture on the importance, benefits, and/or interrelationship between science and society. The lecture is expected to serve as a great impetus to Faculty of Science students, as it is expected to assist in molding their thoughts toward what is happening in the outside world beyond the university environment. We are also launching the apps developed by our students in the Department of Computer Science. The app, thank you very much. The help will be used to build relationship between us and our alumni. Going through the program of events, I could see that we have 393 graduating students. Please, a big clap for our students. And out of these 393 graduating students, 34 students are with first-class grades. We shall be considering their results at the Senate meeting within the next 2 weeks. Let me congratulate you in advance of this. Today, we are inducting you as alumni of this faculty. I believe you all know the meaning of being an alumnus. I pray you all to succeed in your future endeavor and be able to look and give back to your alma mater. Our guest lecturer, Dr. Olayiwola Francis Fatono, is a business person who has been at the helm of affairs of at least 7 different companies. In his past career, Dr. Olayi Fatono held the position of Chief Executive and Director at Niger Delta Exploration and Production PLC, Review Geologist at Shell Petroleum Development Company of Nigeria Limited, and President of the Nigerian Association of Petroleum Explorationists, among others. He is an alumnus that has impacted greatly and positively on this faculty, especially if we have to consider his input in the construction of the Professor Mosobolaje Oyawoye E-Library Complex in the Department of Geology. I am also conscious of his role on the Arrett Adams Professorial Chair in Geological Studies in the Department of Geology of our great faculty. It pleases me to let this audience know that Professor O.E. Eniola is the current holder of the Arrett Adams Professorial Chair in Geological Studies, effective from January 2022. Dr. Olayi Fatono's presentation is entitled Science, the Heartbeat of Entrepreneurship, Innovation, and Sustainable Development. I do not doubt in my mind that we will greatly benefit from his presentation. Before I conclude this address, I want, on behalf of the entire members of the Faculty of Science, to thank all our alumni for the donations to the departments in the faculty and the Dean's office. We feel your impact on our activities. This morning, I circulated the list of most of our benefactors, of which the alumni constituted a great member. I would like to inform you that the Vice Chancellor has recently created the Alumni Relation Office, and we are working closely together with this office towards building a very good relationship between us and our alumni. Let me conclude by welcoming all to the Premier Faculty of Science in Nigeria. I congratulate the graduating students once again, and I want to thank the Faculty Alumni Relation Committee, ably led by Professor O.E. Eniola. The committee has worked day and night to make this day a success, and a round of applause for them, please. I wish each and every one of us a safe journey back to our various destinations at the end of this program. Thank you.
I think we can do better by recognizing and appreciating the Dean. Thank you so much. Before we move to the next thing on the agenda, please permit me to just take these 3 items. Number 1, I have the representative of the Niger Delta Exploration here with us, Mr. Shola Aladetoyinbo. Please, if you are there, please can you please come forward? There's a seat reserved for you here. Mr. Shola Aladetoyinbo, thank you very much. Are you coming? Please, let's appreciate him. And the second, I want to recognize the presence of the faculty officer of this great faculty in person of Mrs. Olaiton Odedele. You're welcome. And every non-academic that is in this hall, please, can you wave your hand and let's appreciate all of us? Thank you so much. And lastly, on page 10, please, can we turn to that page 10? it was recorded there that the consultant is absent with apology, but he is here. If Professor G.O. Adewuyi is here, please, can you wave your hand? Oh, beautiful. We sincerely apologize. It's written here as absent with apology, but actually it's here. Thank you so much. Now the next thing is to listen to the citation, and so I have the pleasure of inviting the immediate past Vice Chancellor, Professor A.I. Olayinka, to please rise and read the citation of the guest lecturer.
Okay. Thank you, the Dean. I think before I read the citation, I'd like to congratulate all the graduating students. The Dean mentioned that 34 of them are graduating with first class honors. I think that's about 8.6%. When I finished here 42 years ago, the whole year I used to graduate maybe only 20 students in first class. But things have since changed. So we congratulate all of you, because you are the most important set of people in this audience, all of you who are graduating today. Okay, it's a pleasure for me to read the citation of the guest lecturer. Yeah, of course, his name has been given to us as Dr. Olaiwola Francis Fatona. But somewhere along the line, we call him Lai, so don't think I'm being rude. It's an opportunity for me to call him by his first name without adding any title. Standing before this distinguished audience is Dr. Francis Olaiwola Fatona, born as the sixth of 8 children into the humble and happy home of late Chief Lawrence Okwade and late Madam Christiana Abimbola Fatona on 1st June 1949. He is a native of Ilewo, Abeokuta, like Professor Ababa. Here before us is a man who, in his own words, is propelled by innocence, an entrepreneur par excellence, a risk taker. You cannot be an entrepreneur without taking risks. A happy family man who is happily married to Dr. Oluwatoyin Fadike and blessed with 3 adorable disciples, Lawrence Eyitene, Francis Ajibade, and John Adetokunbo Fatona. Here this morning, as our guest lecturer, is a leading authority on the geology of Niger Delta Hydrocarbon Province. He has authored several technical and project-driven reports and publications in many local and international journals. He's a very successful and accomplished petroleum geologist with 50 years' experience under his belt. He's a fellow of the Nigerian Mining and Geosciences Society, past president and fellow of the Nigerian Association of Petroleum Exploration, SNAPE, a certified petroleum geologist of the American Association of Petroleum Geologists, AAPG, a 2018 recipient of the Doctor of Science degree, honoris causa, of the Osun State University. In the words of his townsman, that's Chief Moshood Kashimawu Abiola, GCFR, if you smile at a mirror, the mirror will smile back at you. Consequently, 47 years after graduating from the University of Ibadan, Lai Fatona was deservedly conferred with the degree of Doctor of Science, honoris causa, of his alma mater. This doesn't come so easily. Also, the Council of the University of Ibadan named the ultramodern lecture room on the ground floor of the Musobolaji Oyawoye Library after him in year 2020, in recognition of his huge financial contribution through ND Western to the construction and realization of the E-Library complex. I think it has cost about 600 million naira to put the facility together with the computing facilities. 2 days ago, one of the members of his graduating class, Professor Akande, was also in that class. That's Professor UMP Amadi, wrote as follows. Big mouths, I think that's what they call themselves. Big mouths would like to take the opportunity to extend support, solidarity, and best regards to one of our own, Dr. Lai Fatona. You are coming to UI to deliver this inaugural lecture at an appointed and scheduled time. The occasion is worthy of celebration. Definitely, the strength of your character, the degree of Ibadan is awarded in character and learning. Character first before learning. On the strength of your character, which remains exemplary, making it possible to keep this date at a very difficult period indeed. We shall be zooming in to listen from far and near. Dr. Amadi is in America. Remember, we have your back with prayers. and supplication, asking the Lord to guide and protect you. Toyin, that's his adorable wife, and all members of the family to accomplish this task assignment with sound mind, composure, and finesse. Travel safely and stay strong. Congratulations, Phil Amadi. He wrote this one on the platform of Ibadan Geologists 2 days ago. This prophet, Professor Dr. Lai Fatona, is certainly not without honor in his own home. As a native of Abeokuta, naturally he started his education there at St. Peter's College, a Roman Catholic boarding and grammar school. Then he proceeded to Ayetoro Comprehensive High School. Then on account of his A-levels, he came to Ibadan in September 1970. That was 53 years ago. So the students, where were you in 1970? He was still in planet Pluto or somewhere. He was the one of the youngest in this class, with a resounding set of much older and more mature students from Eastern Nigeria. This was immediately after the unfortunate Nigerian Civil War. 1970 to 1973 was an undergraduate year and graduated in June 1973 with a Bachelor of Science degree, second class honors, upper division. He proceeded to Zaria for his national service, and he served with the Water Board. Then 1975, he served in 1973-74. Then after the compulsory one-year service, he took up his first appointment with Shell BP as a trainee production geologist. That was 74, 75. Then 75, he won the Petroleum Technology Development Fund scholarship and proceeded to Imperial College of Science and Technology, University of London. And as of that time, Imperial College, the geology department was easily the largest of its type in Western Europe. The title of his master's thesis was Petroleum Prospects of the Federal Republic of Cameroon's West Africa. Then he came back to Nigeria, then won another scholarship, so he went back to London for his PhD degree in sedimentology, which he successfully completed in March 1980. And the title of his thesis was The Sedimentology of the Lower and Middle Coal Measures in the Nottinghamshire and Derbyshire coal fields, East Midlands, United Kingdom. So going through his CV, I've just tried to construct a stratigraphic column for it. 1980 to 1986, he was with Shell. He had a fulfilling professional career in Shell for the second time. Remember, he was there before he went to the UK for his higher degrees. And he was offered a senior position, this time in the exploration department. Starting a new promising career as a review geologist for the exploration study team in Lagos. He received an initial studies related as work assignment at Shell Research Laboratory in The Hague, Netherlands. After going back to Shell, remember he was armed with a PhD in sedimentology from Imperial College, a project that fueled his career advancement. Therefore, the period 1981 to 1986 was enough incubation time to sow the seeds of an enduring, pioneering, and entrepreneurial mindset and a very bright future. This naturally became a way of life for him as an irrepressible young geologist at Shell. And I must also mention off the cuff that, with all due respect, this guest lecturer is very impatient. He's a very impatient man. The very first time I met him was in March 1990. He came to the department. I was a very junior lecturer. So all my guys had gone to Kaduna to attend the NMGS, so I happened to be the only one around. So I think it was, if I complained bitterly to me that day, that how was the department looking so run down? You know, some people like to criticize, but his own is that, just like Wike will say, he will criticize, then act. He now said we should bring all our microscopes to Bagada in his office. He was then with a geotrace. So he offered to service all our microscopes for us. But this was maybe 1990, 1991, but you can see that one was just a literature review. The main assistance he was going to give to the department was still 30 years ahead. In June 1985, in yet an unprecedented, third life-changing, and yet again pioneering move, Lai did the unthinkable. He resigned from Shell. You can imagine somebody resigning from Shell. They think it's your stepmother that is responsible for that. He decided to resign from his job in Shell. He joined some of his senior colleagues in the establishment of geotrace systems. That was why I said we used to take our microscopes for repair. This unusual move laid a strong foundation for the evolution of even more pioneering and life-changing attainments for him. This was described in The Crust, a publication of the Nigerian Mining and Geosciences Society, volume 39, number 2, that is plunging into the untested world of indigenous oil exploration and production in a multinational dominated environment will appear like a blind journey into the unknown. He himself, as a young man, he responded in his own words, now I quote, "I guess I was ignorant. I have been ignorant of what failure is. I was propelled by not knowing the consequences of failure." So he took the risk, and things have never been the same again. The company, Geotrace Systems Limited, based in the low-profile, quiet residential suburb of Bagada in Lagos, soon became the brain box and incubation center of ideas. Lai joined as the first staff in the company. Together with the two founder partners, the trio progressed to build one of the most vibrant oil and gas exploration and production consulting enterprises in Nigeria. Geotrace Systems, at its peak, about over 60 young and well-educated professional geologists doing consulting work for almost all of the exploration and producing international and indigenous companies. Of course, some of them were my classmates. Yet again, on New Year Day, when all of us should be enjoying ourselves, on New Year Day in 1988, he raised a thought-provoking memo to the founding partners of Geotrace Systems Limited, making a case for the establishment of a small oil-producing company to be driven by a different design model that will carry no exploration costs and risk. And that was why I said the students are lucky. I'm sure when Dr. Lai Fatona was here, which was a generation before my own, entrepreneurship was not on the curriculum. But now all of you have offered courses in entrepreneurship. You know, as an exam man, entrepreneurship comes to him naturally. Going to learn entrepreneurship for him is just like doing research because he was born with entrepreneurship. There is no exam man that I know is not an entrepreneur. So you are luckier because almost every level, 200 level, 300 level, 400 level, you are offering courses in entrepreneurship, which was not offered during my time. Talk less of during his own stay here. So you are luckier. So they pioneered the concept of development of a small oil fields through the model of acquisition of small stranded and hitherto undeveloped oil and gas discoveries, which were owned and controlled by international oil companies. So that his memo was on New Year Day in 1988. But you know, at times it takes quite some time for ideas to germinate. It was not until 4 years later, in 1992, that the idea that he proposed in his memo, in his famous memo, which remained passionately and quietly in view, inspired with others like our great late Chief Arrett Adams, to the pioneering establishment of what has metamorphosed into today's Niger Delta group of companies. More importantly was the landmark and often referenced historic and yet again pioneering commercial negotiation of the first of its type, farm-out agreement between the Chevron NNPC joint ventures and an independent indigenous Nigerian marginal oil field development company. Under the able leadership of Dr. Lai Fatona, and together with his dedicated team of hands-on technical and management populated by a crop of entirely Nigerian professional associates, colleagues of all times, and a young Nigerian workforce, they have jointly built a company with many pioneering firsts, of which the following are notable. The 1993 Nigeria's first ever negotiated commercial farm-out agreement for the development of Ugbele Marginal Oil Field, which today had become the template for the federal government's Marginal Oil Field Development Initiative, and the birth of several thriving independent Nigeria oil and gas producing companies. The successful raising of funds from hundreds of ordinary small Nigerian investors. Niger Delta Exploration and Production PLC is today's leading truly indigenous, independent, integrated Nigerian oil and gas producing publicly owned company with over 1,700 shareholders drawn from every geopolitical zone in the country. They had the first oil production in 2005 of Nigeria's first ever marginal oil and gas field, the Ugbele field in Rivers State. The field has since been classed as a fully integrated development with oil and gas production, processing and refining, all built on a small footprint bringing acceptance and pioneering to the concept of modular refining in sub-Saharan Africa. Lai and his lean management team at Niger Delta had brought a new dimension to the commercialization of gas resources and adding refining to the value chain for marginal field operations and operators. At Niger Delta, he pioneered the monetization of gas resources by building the first ever gas processing plant with full value capture from LPG, propane, and dry gas production through total elimination of gas flaring. The 2011 commissioning of the first ever federal government licensed 1,000 barrels per day mini refinery to be built in sub-Saharan Africa by an independent Nigerian oil producing company. This plant has now been upgraded into Nigeria's first full-fledged, privately owned and licensed refinery with a total processing capacity of 11,000 barrels per day. It commenced operations effective 1st January 2020. So we are really very excited that all this, the foundation was laid at the University of Ibadan, Faculty of Science. The 2012 commissioning of a 100 million standard cubic feet per day Ogwele gas processing plant was the first ever and the only one of such plants owned and operated by a Nigerian independent company. The 2013 Memorandum of Understanding executed to establish a strategic partnership between Nigeria Independent Producing Company and the State National Oil Company, Nile Petroleum Corporation of South Sudan. Niger Delta Exploration and Production Company has therefore become the first Nigerian company to enter into such international Pan-African commercial arrangements. The company was the recipient of the 2015 World Bank Global Gas Flare Reduction Excellence Award for the elimination of gas flaring from the Ogwele field operations. The company was the first Nigerian enterprise to endorse the World Bank 2030 GGFR, that's Global Gas Flare Reduction Initiative, which pledged the elimination of gas flaring in all of its operations. Our guest lecturer has had a checkered career, commencing with his 7-year nurturing employment at both the Petroleum Engineering and Exploration and Production Department of SPDC. As already mentioned, he has been senior consultant and director of Geotrace, elevated to the position of vice president in October 1989, chairman Geotrace Systems in January 1994, appointed the managing director of Niger Delta Exploration and Production PLC Group in 1995, and has meritoriously served in this capacity till he retired in 2019. In addition, he was the managing director of ND Western Limited from 2013 till early 2020. He retains his position on the board of directors of the company. Beyond all this, we have mentioned that he received the Arrett Adams Award of NAPE, then the gold medal of the NMGS in 2012. And as managing director of Niger Delta Exploration and Production PLC Group, he was a 2013 finalist in the senior category of the West African region of the annual Ernst & Young Entrepreneurship of the Year Award. Then, Dr. Fatona is not only about oil and gas. He's an ardent philanthropist and committed believer in the benevolence of self-development. The director of University Health Services asked me to introduce her to one of our most successful alumni. So I gave her the phone number of Dr. Lai Fatona. I'm sure that's why Dr. Ajaf is here today. And I'm sure he's going to deliver. He has always believed in the benevolence of self-development, the concept that small efforts can often crystallize into big impact-making events, and thus has inspired his gifting instincts. So he's a natural giver. And you know the hand of the giver is always on top of that of the receiver. The following are part of the activities and courses that Dr. Lai Fatona and his wife have been privileged to initiate, champion, and drive in his career. At Geotrace, they supported many departments for petroleum geology, geophysics, sedimentology, biostratigraphy, and petroleum geochemistry. Beneficiaries include students sponsored to the Obafemi Awolowo University Ile-Ife, Imperial College of Science, Technology, and Medicine in London, as well as University of Leeds. This program has since been continued by Niger Delta Petroleum Resources Limited, with the most recent beneficiary returning to the company after successfully completing their program, MSc in Reservoir Engineering from the Royal School of Mines, its alma mater. The company over the years funded the equipping of geological laboratories at the University of Ibadan. In the last 8 years, Niger Delta Petroleum Resources has offered a yearly space of internship for at least one MSc student for a period covering 4 to 6 months. Some of you may even do your national service in his company. So you can see him after this program. A period of 4 to 6 months for full hands-on exposure while carrying out specific study projects in an exploration and production operating company. The establishment by NDEP of a pioneer host community and environmental development trust with 5% of annual audited company net profits pledged to fund all developmental activities. This is the first of its type for the development of the host communities of Niger Delta region directly impacted by the company's oil and gas development operations as part of initiatives of inclusion. The funds are intended for costs of social, economic, and human capital development in each of the host communities. Over 10 billion naira has been disbursed by the trust in the past 18 years. Other benevolent causes supported are, as far back as 2010, Dr. Fatton had consistently supported the annual sponsorship of the MSc Geoscience class of the Geology Department at Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, for attending the annual conference of the Nigerian Association of Petroleum Explorationists. Other universities have benefited from this program. For years, Dr. Fatton offered singly and freely the lecturing service for the MSc course in Advanced Sedimentology for the MSc Geosciences course at Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife. Ever since the past 8 years or more, Dr. Fatton had given a one-day a year special talk on entrepreneurial skills development for geosciences to the MSc Petroleum Geosciences students. I'm sure that's through the intervention of our distinguished alumnus, Emeritus Professor Rahman, who is plying his trade at Ife. He has also donated a laptop computer to students. Then on his personal and private level, and together with his wife, Dr. Mrs. Oluwatoyin Fadike Fatton, they jointly established the Lai and Toyin Fatton Educational Support Fund, managed by a group of associates. The fund pays the fund of deserving privileged children who show scholarship and promise. A blind student was sponsored by this foundation in recognition of the Niger Wives Association throughout his course at the University of Lagos. A full-time sponsorship was offered to a student of accountancy from the Lagos State University of George, Lagos. A student of law at Olabiso Onabanjo University Agoyoye was sponsored. So you can see that for Dr. Fatton, the whole country, actually the whole world, is his constituency. A young girl who was in secondary school in Abeokuta, his ancestral home, was also sponsored. Dr. Fatton is passionate about knowledge sharing, drawing from the brilliant metaphor of Thomas Jefferson, who on Candle of Light and Idea stated that no one possesses the less because everyone possesses the whole of it. He who receives an idea from me receives it without lessening me, as he lights his candle at mine, receives light without darkening me. Johnson profoundly reformulated this metaphor, adding inclusive insight, and said that he or she who receives an idea lights his or her own light. Ideas like light are strengthened rather than diminished by sharing. Physicists called it candle power. So as I conclude, our guest lecturer today is a most distinguished man of incredible productivity and performance, who is focused, diligent, a devout Catholic, dedicated, and I don't know whether it's Nigerian Catholic or Roman Catholic, but it's Catholic all the same. A man whose inspiration is contagious, a man whose enthusiasm is a propeller of progress, wisdom, and accomplishments. This is a man with clarity in his heart. He's a very kind man. A man who is honest and forthright. A man in whom humor, humility, and civility thrive. And a man whose impeccable good manners, beautifulness, and brilliance are acknowledged by all and sundry. It is tried to say that all Ibadan geologists, both at home and abroad, are very proud of him for doing us proud. He continues to give of his treasure, time, and talent in support of his alma mater. He is definitely an inimitable exemplar to covet. To us, his life is a celebration of the success story of a quiet, unassuming, humble achiever, an astute professional, a certified petroleum geologist of distinction, who boldly and diligently led his lean management team and professionals in pioneering and successfully building to enviable heights the first public indigenous, independent, and foremost integrated exploration, oil and gas processing and refining, modular refining company in sub-Saharan Africa, NDEP PLC group of companies, operator of the Ogbele marginal oil field in Nigeria, a committed believer in benevolence and self-development. This is an alumnus of the Geology Department, UI Geology Department, graduating class of 1973, an illustrious Nigerian, an active player in the sub-Saharan oil and gas exploration and production landscape, a devout Christian, and an exemplary family man, Dr. Olayiwola Francis Fatono, FNMGS, FNAPI, Honorary DSC, Ibadan. The title of this first Faculty of Science Alumni Lecture, as we have been duly informed, is Science, the Art of Entrepreneurship, Innovation, and Sustainable Development. Dr. Olayi Fatono. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I'm humbled and I'm lost for words because you just told the story of my life. And let me use this opportunity to welcome Professor Rahman. And Professor Ajayi. I'm actually lost for words, and I will try and do my best for the day. So I'm going to stand on all protocols, Prof, and all the profs in the house. I will just go on with my affair today. So I am privileged to be talking as the first in the series of the Faculty of Science, University of Ibadan Alumni Lecture. The title you know, and I'm going to do a few introductory remarks. But let me just speak to the audience. For me, this is a special homecoming event. And I mean it. The maiden edition of the Faculty of Science Alumni Lecture Series. This cannot be a one-chance event. For the planners, the initiators, it was a very deliberate thing. It was calculated, and certainly it was very well intended. Gratefully and gracefully, an alumnus was the target. But I dare say, I am the poor victim. Chosen for this otherwise serious engagement of the day, usually I'm a very casual person. And in my casualness, which is very characteristically an unusual way, when I seem to be in a situation like this, I always ask myself, why? It is not about age. I mean, Professor Rahman could have been sitting down here or standing here. It's not about height. It's not about elegance. It's not even about knowledge. Perhaps in this case, all I can say is thank you very much for choosing me. So, I wanted to context the topic of today. And I was working with one of my very able assistants in the office. And we decided to put this together as the concept of today's lecture. I will come back to this in my narratives. So, let me go straight into the topic of the day, science, the heartbeat of entrepreneurship, innovation, and sustainable development. I will take the scientific art piece of a triangle to situate the conversation with 4 big interconnecting pieces, all squeezed into a triangle. At the center of the triangle sits the key driver word, science. This is interconnecting with other 3 edges of the triangle, the anecdotes. At one end and the other edge, innovations, sustainable development, and majorly at the top of the triangle, entrepreneurship. So let me just go back. I would like you at every given time that I'm going through this lecture just to focus your mind on this caption. So, I ask again, what has science got to do with this? The heartbeat of entrepreneurship, innovations, and sustainable development. Science, in the context of today's conversation, is not only of basics of mathematics, physics, biology, and chemistry. Science herein is wider and deeper than the realm of the subjects that I've just mentioned. Science, in my mind, is everything and all things about thinking, making such thoughts come alive, and used to create sustainable opportunities through innovation, research, and development. So, what is science? In these days, we're at the internet age, and life is very easy. So why should I be bothering myself about definition of science? So I went to Wikipedia, and I extracted 2 very strong definitions of science. The word science has been used in Middle English since the 14th century as the state of knowing, borrowed from Anglo-Norman language as the suffix science, which itself was borrowed from Latin word scientia, meaning knowledge, awareness, and understanding. There's a second definition of science, being the nature of the history of science by implication. The definition of science itself is a topic of debate. Science is a human activity, and scientific contributions have been made by people from a wide range of different backgrounds and cultures, making science increasingly seen as part of a global history of exchange, conflict, even collaboration. I didn't stop there. I went to the Science Council. Everybody knows what the Science Council is. The Science Council had to define and defend what science is all about. The Science Council said, science is the pursuit and application of knowledge and understanding of the natural and social world following a systematic methodology based on evidence. So I then become selfish, and I ask myself, how will I define science? Very simple. I have to do it today. Science is, like I said, is beyond maths, it's beyond physics, it's beyond chemistry and biology. Science is an art. It is everything about our living. Let me then go to the other anecdotes, and let me just give a little bit of definitions as well. So I start with entrepreneurship. And Professor Rahman, thank you very much. You have gotten me standing in front of MSc students for many years, 8 years, 10 years, where I give a 1-day long lecture on nothing but entrepreneurship. So I tell my story. Entrepreneurship, I have to define it, is an art, creativity, and skill that involves the process of identifying opportunities, taking risks, and creating new ventures or initiatives to pursue economic, social, and/or environmental goals. Entrepreneurs play a crucial role in driving sustainable development by bringing innovative ideas, products, and services to the market people and society. A good entrepreneur utilizes the scientific method of thought and thinking when attempting to start a business, creating experiments, and learning from results. On the other hand, art, like aspects of entrepreneurship, involves purposefully arranging various elements and variables in a way that are meant to invoke or appeal to emotions and senses of the desired audience. So let me think loud. How come the artist sometimes decides that he's not just going to draw on a piece of paper, but will also go on canvas? Paper, like you know, will wither, but canvas endures. Innovation. So, it is not just only about innovation. Sustainability. The canvas stays sustainable. Through this lens that I've just described, entrepreneurship can be viewed as a scientific art, employing many different methods and mediums of a desired outcome. Then I go and want to talk about innovation. Innovation involves the development and implementation of new ideas, technologies, processes, or business models that result in significant or positive changes that can drive sustainable development through resource development and consumption, improve efficiency, promote social well-being. And a very short definition of sustainable development itself. It seeks to balance environmental protection, social equity, and economic growth without compromising the ability of the future generations to meet their own needs. It requires innovative and entrepreneurial initiatives that can address environmental challenges, foster social inclusivity, and promote responsible economic practices. So let's go backwards in time. Let us review the chronology of science. I would like to go very, very, very back, way, way back. Where did science come from? Science, you can trace it from ancient Egypt. The time was 3000 to 1200 BC. Now, the ancient Egyptians were the original scientists. They made contributions that found a place in the Greek and medieval science, mathematics, astronomy, medicine. Scroll forward, 4th to 6th centuries, ancient Greece. The Greek philosophers came in, and you have examples: Hippocrates, Euclid, Aristotle. They sought to explain the natural world through reason and observations. They laid the groundwork for deductive reasoning, logic, and philosophical foundations of science. Go further on, 8th to 14th centuries, the Islamic age. The Islamic age was a very fundamental contributor to science. During the Islamic Golden Age, Muslim scholars made significant contributions to various scientific fields, translating and preserving ancient Greek and Roman works, and expanded upon them in areas of mathematics, astronomy, medicine, optics, and chemistry. Let's go on. 14th to 17th century, the Renaissance age, scientific revolution. This was a period that was marked with the insurgence of interest in scientific inquiries. Philosophers began to challenge traditional beliefs. They rely more on empirical evidences and experiments. The scientific revolution which emerged between this period saw groundbreaking discoveries and advancements in disciplines including astronomy, physics, Isaac Newton, and biology, Harvey. Then let's come closer. 18th to 19th century, age of enlightenment, developments in geology, our forte. The 18th century Enlightenment era saw flourishing and natural philosophies which encompassed a wide range of scientific disciplines. Thinkers like Voltaire contributed to advancements in physics, chemistry, biology, taxonomy. They classify species. I come into the 19th century, the Darwinian evolution period. And then I go on in the 20th century, quantum mechanics. By the time we got to the 20th century, revolution of physics. Scientists like Max and others, they made fundamental discoveries in quantum theory which led to new understandings of energy, matter, and the wave-particle duality of light. I could go on and on and on of what science brought to the world during this era. So, let us look at this construction of space between 1800 to today. A few remarkable things I want to point out. In fact, I would step back before 1800, when printing machines and microscopes were first available to be used. That was between 1500 and 1800. Then let's move progressively after 1800. We are working towards today. Steam locomotives, photography, telegraphy, telephone, electric light. Then in 1903 was the wonderful development. The Wright brothers, they invented airplanes. This was a very significant milestone of science. In fact, sometimes today, when I'm sitting on an aircraft, I still believe it is voodoo. I don't understand how aircrafts work, yet I'm a scientist. People try to explain to me, oh, it takes air, ballast, and I say, how can an aircraft with 300 people, suitcases, luggage, everything, and still flying at 40,000 feet? These days, the pilots tell you you will arrive in London in 6 hours and 15 minutes. What's it up? It's voodoo. Then you go on beyond the discovery of airplanes, first computers, discovery of DNA, moon landing in 1969. I was told that the technology that took man to the moon, all the technology that took man to the moon is available today in your iPhone. Just look at the advancement of science and what science has done. And then I go beyond landing on the moon. I go forward. 2000, internet, Yahoo. Now, watch the space. Where are we now? AI systems. Can you imagine the danger of AI, artificial intelligence? Try to send a text message. The machine takes over and assumes that it's the one doing the job for you. So many times I try to send a text message to Professor Rahman, it ends up in Professor Olayinka's table. Because maybe I called Professor Olayinka 5 minutes ago, the machine assumes that if I talk to him and I'm sending a text message, it should go to him. This is the danger of artificial intelligence. Now, today, project for the next 50 years? Where is the space? Who is going to occupy that space? Ask yourself. That is the space for all of you, the young people, entrepreneurs. That's where it is. Your future is guaranteed as entrepreneurs. So it's not science alone. Modern science, modern society is dealing with all sorts of challenges that will come together. And I prepared this slide and I want to read the caption at the bottom of the slide by Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple. Hear what he said. It is in Apple's DNA that technology alone is not enough. It is technology married with the liberal arts and humanities that yields us the result that makes our hearts sing. Look at the elegance of iPhone. Look at all the things you can do with it. It is not just technology. There are people who are thinking about how your face should look, if there's not enough light, you know. So I am just building up that it is not just about science alone. In entrepreneurship, what has science done? Is it a blessing or is it a curse? Let's look at case studies. The Ford family business. Ford started as a family business. And then they matured into manufacturing plants, automated plants, assembly line revolution in the 1900s. What did it do? The assembly line technology revolutionized manufacturing industry by significantly increasing productivity, reducing costs, and making consumer goods more accessible to a larger population in a shorter time frame. This novel concept led to lower wages, replacement of skilled with unskilled labor, and mind you, computers are taking over your lives and your work, loss of identity and low job satisfaction leading to mass protests across all Ford plants, and the establishment of a labor unions across all Ford locations. So look at all the things that just scientific development had allowed itself to manifest into. I cannot talk and go away without coming back to what disruptive innovation has come with modern day big companies. Google, Amazon, Microsoft, Apple. The rise in automation and the brewing of unemployment crisis with global regulations playing catch up. Now, artificial intelligence, again, I showed this slide just to show you the potentials of creativity. The CEO of OpenAI, which is the progenitor of ChatGPT, he appeared before the US Congress pleading for the regulation of his company and industry as quickly as possible. In fact, this morning, I read a story that going forward, if you want to use AI application, Microsoft is going to charge you $30 a month subscription. So, if you are using Word, if you are using Microsoft, whatever it is, time has caught up with you. So I go on. Science of today in the world of business, driven by entrepreneurship, instincts, and investments. I've told you artificial intelligence is going to take over, and that's the space. Electrical vehicles, manufacturing and green energy, blockchain, cryptocurrencies. The daunting question remains, where's Nigeria? Will Nigeria chart its own path to development across these game-changing spaces? Or will we remain a dumping ground for finished products wallowing in consumerism? So, Prof has read my CV, so I'm not going to tell you anything about myself. about my entrepreneurial journey. He has done it for me. He has told my story. So, but the most important thing was that I was incubated here, just up the street, up the road at the geology department. That's where all the ideas came from. And Professor Rahman, I always said this about him. You know, when we were in our university days, we were very rascally. We used to torment him because, you know why? He always spoke to himself. He would write on the board and write on what he has written. And Prof, but you turned us into what we were. You made us work. Thank you very much. So, I did all the things, went to college, came out of college, went to work for Shell. I was unhappy. I loved my job. I did my job. I resigned, just like he said. Yes, indeed, I resigned in 1985. I didn't know the consequences of failure if I had failed. And my worst plan was, if all else fails, I will come and lecture. But that didn't happen. So, I will now tell you the journey of Niger Delta as an example of what science, innovation, and entrepreneurship has done towards ensuring that we can build a life of sustainable development. The company that I was privileged to be part of was a creation of so many people, partnership, partnering. It was the first Nigerian independent integrated energy company and Africa's first integrated small field development. So I want to tell you the story of where we came from. Now, if you look at this picture, it's nothing. I could have stopped on the express road and shoot some pictures. But indeed, these pictures were very historical. These pictures were the picture of the field that Chevron handed over to us. Nothing. Zilch. And the first picture on the left is the field itself. The next picture on the right is the road that led to the field. It had been overgrown. And the wellhead that is sitting somewhere is that one. Now, these pictures were taken in 2000. Larry, thank you very much, wherever you are, if you're in the audience. You helped me to fish these pictures out, and we implanted it this morning. So, I'm going to tell you an 18-year journey in 5 to 10 minutes. From mainstream oil production, the enterprise has transformed itself into a fully integrated energy company. That's what Prof has said about me and the company. But when we took the field up in 2000, it was nothing to cheer about. So I am going to show you a few pictures. This is the picture of well 1 when we started reconstruction. Then we rehabilitated the well cellar. And when we drilled the first well, that was the wellhead in 2005. 2000 to 2005. We have just only managed to drill and complete a well, not production. Let me scroll further. By 2005, first oil production. The pictures that you have seen earlier on is emerging. These are the facilities of the company in 2005, in 2010, and in 2020. The company had moved from nothing to a production company, flow station, a gas processing plant, and a 11,000 barrels per day refinery. So between 2000 and 2003, there was quite a lot that went into thinking, just thinking and imagining what it could look like. It wasn't just about me, it wasn't me alone, it was a handful of young people young people, and I stress that word, young people, but ably led by old people who think nothing but Nigeria and how can Nigeria excel. Today, I'm going to show this picture. Okay. I'm just scrolling forward. This is Ogbele today. This is a drone picture that was taken a couple of months ago. And if the mind can think of it, the hands can build it. So, I would then quickly go to what our story had looked like. In 2005, we had no access to diesel. Every diesel that was brought to our facilities was contaminated. We decided to build our own diesel plant. So that was the thought that went to the idea that we wanted a small refinery. By the time we built the refinery, we have moved on. We have converted all our energy supply mechanisms from diesel to gas. So we built a 1,000 barrels per day refinery that was producing diesel, and we don't know what to do with it. So we decided that we could sell it to the local communities. That was the simple idea behind the beginning of a refinery. Eventually, we got the permit to sell, and we started selling. But in 1 year, the business had paid for itself. So it was not a brainer. So why do only 1,000 barrels per day? Today, the company has built 11,000 barrels per day, and there are other companies that have done exactly what Niger Delta has done. So today, I was listening to the radio program about 2 or 3 days ago, and I think there are 4 or 5 functioning modular refineries in Nigeria. So don't be in a hurry. Nigeria will get there. So the company has not just stopped there. The company had moved on. It has become bigger than itself. The company went into partnership with 4 other companies and decided to buy a whole acreage, not just a field this time. So in 2011, we created a special purpose vehicle where we bought OML 34 from Shell. It was a $600 million transaction. All that money was borrowed from Nigerian banks, and we paid back. I will tell you that today, that new company that bought an asset, an acreage from Shell, hasn't really stopped. It's going, and it's going, and it's growing. Now, watch it. I will say nothing more. You will hear more about that company very soon. So, how has the company or the companies supported us in achieving sustainable development? It's all about caring and thinking about what is the impact of the footprint of our activities. So we decided that the host communities around the places where we work must be part of our business. But we could not go and ask them to bring money into our business. But to get them to becoming part of our business, we only said they would take part of our profit. So we decided to give them 5% of our annual profits so that they too can take benefit. Now, today, the federal government has adopted the principles of what we did into the new petroleum industry bill. And for me and all the others in the company, even if that is a contribution to Nigeria, we are very satisfied. So, I then come to the Faculty of Science. I'm sorry, I think my slides, oh, sorry, I should be going, okay, right, this is where I am, okay. So there's a challenge that I want to pose here. Nigeria academia, UI, as Doyen in particular, there's need to refocus its product, its production line, which is all of you young people. You are the products of the production line. There has to be a very dedicated focus to creating a generation of entrepreneurs for ensuring sustainable development of our today and future society through innovations, research and development. Now, Nigeria has witnessed quite a number of small, fast, rapidly growing entities. Interswitch, Paystack, Floataware, Jumia, Helium Health, 54 Gene, Bamboo. These are all entities that innovation has helped to create. I have chosen 5 of these 7 unicorns, and you can see these are African continent unicorns. All these originated from Nigeria. Nigeria's next generation of innovators. Our Silicon Valley is located in Yaba, as I'm told. This is Nigeria's first open living lab and pre-incubation space designed to be a multifunctional, multi-purpose space where work to catalyze creative social tech ventures take place. My verdict is whatever it is that we have today is just not enough. It's certainly not enough. We can create a lot more, and there's no reason why there should not be an incubation center in Ibadan, one in Ife, another one in Abad, in Goja, and Maiduguri, all collaborating and bringing companies into the market. Nigeria's next generation of innovators, venture capital, there's a lot of money out there to follow good ideas. A lot of money. And if you see the amount of money that has come from venture capital into Nigeria, there are about 10 countries here that have, Nigeria seems to be the leader. Nigeria is taking at least 22% of whatever new money that is coming to Africa. So all I'm saying here with this is that Nigeria has maintained a steady and progressive growth in venture capital investment since 2012. And now, fortuitously, we account for 22% of deal volume in Africa by the records of 2022. So what will science do for sustainable development? I have a number of questions here. At the global level, how do we develop energy solutions with recourse to the environment and mankind in general? How do we endear the public to be more trusting of science and its tremendous potentials to uplift the human living experience? How do we constantly innovate with the thought and appreciation of the psychology, physiology, ramifications on mankind? How can the world leaders develop policies that ensure the optimal interaction between capitalism and the social needs of the world? For Nigeria, what fiscal policies are required to enable development of cutting-edge research and proliferation of entrepreneurship? How do we innovate around fossil fuel production and development to attain energy security and independence, mineral exploration and development, agriculture, health, food processing in response to the global quest for sustainable energy solutions and environmental friendly planets? What are the plans to develop homegrown intellectual property and prowess in the areas of manufacturing, software engineering, and vaccine development to reduce our dependency on the Western world? Significant investments are required in the former tertiary institutions, particularly in science, technology, engineering, management STEM fields, to enable our youths obtain world-class education locally. We need investments in research centers across key disciplines, academic institutions nationwide, private sector initiative. UI, I want to come home to UI. UI has so much of untapped goodwill. And I believe this goodwill must propel it for an initiative to free itself from government funding. I am posing this as a deliberate challenge to the university authorities. Introduction of policies of the NUC to ensure our curriculum are up to date and constantly evolving with global trends. Conducting invasive exchange programs across academic institutions. And here I say Professor Yawoye's times has to come back. I remembered during my time here at the university, it was very fashionable to have many university lecturers on exchange programs. We have to go back to those basic collaborative opportunities. I'm just throwing all these out, not because of any, it's just I'm dumping ideas. And I want to say, we have to create an environment for entrepreneurship innovation. Academia can play a proactive role by creating initiatives to reward scientific innovation by way of seed funding and grants. I will quickly just go into the conclusion. In concluding, I want to say a few things. I believe the reason why I've had the privilege of standing here is first because people think I'm a scientist. People think I'm an entrepreneur. But I want to say, without the support of financial institutions, government, sponsors, and all the people that work in the establishment, we cannot really achieve too much, even with our scientific ideas. In other words, there will be no innovation, and there will be no sustainability, and of course, we would have ideas, but that will just be it, ideas. I just want to believe that ideas are propelled also by institutions of government, financial institutions, and every other thing. Science will continue to be the heartbeat of entrepreneurship, innovation, and sustainable development. I, again, believe that the Faculty of Science at the University of Ibadan has you have to assume a pole position as a champion. It can be done by exploiting the abundant goodwill of the UI alumni. Let us sow a seed. And the seed that I want to plant today is how can we get University of Ibadan out of the government funding and subvention train. Prof, I've discussed this with you a few times. I would like to see UI become an independent, self-funded institution. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope I haven't bored you. I want to say thank you and God bless.
I'm sure we can do better than that. Thank you so much, sir. We may please take our seat, please. A lot has been said, right? If you can think it, you can do it. Do you agree with me? Without wasting time, I've been reliably informed that we are not going to go into a question and answer session. Rather, we're just going to do some form of comment or interaction, which we want to keep as low as 2. I wouldn't know if we have anyone in the house who would want to interact. Just some few interaction because of our time. I am sure the faculty will do justice. Okay. I'm sure the faculty will do justice to ensuring that this presentation is given a wide circulation. Before we go into that, I quickly want to recognize in our midst Professor Oman Rahman. Let's celebrate him, sir. You're welcome, sir. And in the same vein, I also want to introduce to us Professor Taiwo Haru Ajayi. You're welcome, sir. So without wasting time, is it possible we get 2 comments? 1, 2. Thank you. Possibly, if there will be a 3rd one, it will be from the high table. Sir. Okay. Please, sir, kindly introduce yourself.
My name is Benga Polola. I teach geology at the Department of Geology.
All right.
Thank you for recognizing the lower table before the My comment is a very short one. And that is to say that everything that Dr. Lai Fatono has said today, he had practicalized it in the geology department. I stand here to say that even the beginning of the thinking about the innovation had been manifested in that building that he, with the alumni, people like one of our living ancestors here, Professor Rahman, that's where we refer to ourselves, please. I'm sure my Vice Chancellor will give me the permission. It will soon become, we will soon register him as one. But we cherish them, people like him and others, but he motivating the ND Western to donate that building to us. That building is not just a building. It is a full complex of everything he has said today. It's going to be a hub of thinkers with over 200 computers and over 200,000 assets to materials, entrepreneurship materials, literature, scientific research, all together with an innovation incubation center. So I want to invite everybody because, again, some refurbishment is going on there now. And the next few weeks, it will be operational with the permission of the dean and the incoming dean of the Faculty of Science. It's going to be a center for thinking where champions will be raised. So I welcome all the university community to visit that place in the next 2 weeks, register there, get the links, and then you can fly. Thank you, Dr. Fatomi.
Thank you so much for that comment, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. My name is Remia Jala from the Department of Archaeology and Anthropology. I'm not going to talk on the philanthropism of the lecturer, but I'm going to talk about on the context of this lecture. I see a very highly inspiring lecture delivered here, very highly thought-provoking lecture delivered here, and a very highly challenging lecture delivered here, which all crystallizes into forming a new personality in Nigerian context. And I wish we actually drive Nigeria based on the premises of the lecture delivered today. Thank you very much. I've not missed my being here. Thank you very much.
so much. I would like our living ancestor to also say something. So let's celebrate him. Let's celebrate Professor Rahman.
Thank you very much. We know all the protocols. Unlike the things you say about me, I thank you very much. I never believed they were true. If they happen to be true, well, they are there. First, this is a very, first let me congratulate the Faculty of Science for putting up these lectures. And I hope that with this powerful beginning, it will be a thing that will become one of the things that we do on an annual basis in the Faculty of Science. So let me congratulate you for thinking about it and getting the alumni to be involved with the faculty. Because as Lai rightly said, you know, the alumni are the ones who own the place, and they must begin to put their money where their mouth is. So not talk about it, but to begin to support the faculty, the faculty can grow. I'm also impressed by Lai's recognition of the fact that to be able to be innovative and do things you want to do, you require government support. You don't believe, people always take, government has no business, we're doing business. It is wrong. In our age, in our times, government has a very powerful role to play. If government does not drive the process will not grow. Lai knows. He's been in the oil industry. When government refuses to pay up his own share of what he needs to pay, the industry does not move. The industry waits. When the government does what it needs to do, then the government will do it. The industry will do it. So forget it. So financial institutions are extremely important. And I'm glad, again, that as nice in this lecture here, the loans to get these things done were put together by Nigerian banks. They didn't have to go to Rothschild or Lloyd's or something. They were done here. So when financial institutions key into what we need to do, then again we shall be on our way out of the rut that we are in. I'm glad that he has mentioned this, that we take this seriously. And there are other sectors that are also important. Remember, I'm a geologist. I'm on the fringes of what the oil industry does. But there are people like Samuel here, people like Adekoya here, who are involved with the solid mineral sector. And it's important for us, again, to see what we can do about that sector. I keep reminding to people that people of my own age group, when we graduated, took a degree in '68, him and the rest were put out to go and look for iron ore for this country. But many of them who were sent to Russia and so on to learn how to set up the steel plant and so on, they retired without producing as a single ounce of liquid steel. It's not possible. And yet, if you don't have energy, if you don't have iron and steel, if you don't have those things, then you cannot, industries cannot grow. So I thank you, Lai, for this presentation. And I think it's time we get government to do what it needs to do so that we can do what we have to do. Thank you very much for giving us the
Thank you so much, sir. We'll quickly just, the guest lecturer will quickly just respond to a question, then we move into the next line of item. Thank you, sir. You can sit down, sir.
Wow, it's easier for me to stand up. There was a question about what the company was doing 5 years before we actually got into full activity. And it's a very interesting question because people think success comes like that. 5 years I was walking the street. I was looking for people who will believe in what we want to do. And when I said I was walking the street, that was what I was doing. I would stand in front of the office, and if you walk past and you look, I would talk to you, and then I would ask you to come into the office, and I would ask you, can you invest 25,000 naira? And people would look at me. So the 5 years, when there was nothing, we were looking for investors. But we believed that from the little money we got from people, if we demonstrated capacity and we judiciously use of the resources, we will get more money. And that was exactly what happened to us. We raised $6 million in Naira, just walking the street, from people, teachers, housewives, doctors. We didn't have many geologists invest in the company. We have more lawyers and doctors who would invest 50,000 Naira. And that took us 5 years until we got critical mass when we got a loan. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, just like I was listening when the lecturer was speaking, one thing it's a take-home for me was that when he mentioned or when he was going through it, there was a kind of a relief. You know, we are coming out from the tension out there with increase in cost of fuel and all those stuff. And so when he was speaking, I think I remember he said that we should keep calm, that things is going to work. With ND, Niger Delta exploration in Nigeria and the likes, definitely, I believe there is a future. Let's put our hands again together for our lecturer. Thank you very much, sir. We want to move to the next, which is the launching of the Alumni Hub. And to anchor this is Professor O.A. Ehiola. So I hand over the microphone to him to anchor this.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, our time is fast spent. Before the launching of the app, we will try to indulge all our alumni, the newly graduating students, those of you that are here and also online. Can you please stand up if you are graduating 2021, 2022 graduates? Please, a round of applause for them. Like the Dean told us earlier, there are over 380 students that graduated from this faculty. Please, you have to repeat after me. Your name? Okay, have been inducted today, Wednesday 19, July 2023, into the membership of Faculty of Science Alumni Association. As a representative of this faculty, I promise to be diligent and display exemplary character in all my endeavors. Also, I will not engage in any act that will bring the name of the faculty and the University of Ibadan to disrepute. So help me God. So you are now admitted. When we are planning this lecture, our team met and we ruminate on what do we want, and we discovered that our alumni, they need what is called feedback mechanism. Now we have listened to the lecture and we know where we are going, and we can see those attributes that was being displayed today. It cannot be done by any other, unless you are a scientist. Even the lecture, when I was listening, I just say, wow, as if I have not part of the team. But we thank you very much, sir, for this lecture. We have a slogan, which we say the needs of our students is the need of the department. And the need of the department is the need of our faculty. And the need of the faculty is the need of the university. Then somebody now asks, what is the need of our alumni? So alumni, we know you have needs. So if you tell us your needs, I think all other things will fall in place. And that's why we want to demonstrate the capability of these young ones that we have assembled to develop an app. You told us that the Silicon Valley is in Yaba, and maybe that is why people are not even aware. In fact, people like it's today, I just discovered that we even have a Silicon Valley at Yaba. But here in UI, Faculty of Science, we are already having, permit me to use the military word, bunch of smart students who have decided to also come up with their own idea, innovative idea. So we are looking for the other aspect of it, which is entrepreneurship, as well as how we can sustain it. Today, we have a group of students, and these students, they are not final year students. We have them at 200 level, 300 level, 400 level. Then also, we try to reach out to other departments in the faculties. They came together. In 2014, they won the Slumberger First Prize for developing a plug-in system. So we'll be able to predict the amount of drilling material for the well. And it was adjudged to be best. And they were given the sum of $5,000 for being the winner at that time. So the student cut across computer science, physics, mathematics, geology, and petroleum engineering. In fact, we are even extending to other faculties that can be part of the team. But for this team, we look at what can we do? How can we make our alumni to also, have our own attention? So we decided to develop a hub known as Saluma. The Saluma, the full meaning is just a Science Alumni Association app. So the students try as much as possible to brainstorm, what do our alumni want? How can we reach out to them globally? Because no longer to be in this University of Ibadan. How can we say outside the country, anywhere they are? And we decided to customize the name now, because to develop an app is not easy. It can take, like now, the thread that people are already logging on, having 10 million, was developed for almost 7 months or 8 months. So ours is going to be 3 months, and we are already trying to deploy. So we have some challenges now because of the number of people that can log on. But based on the people that registered for this, to participate in this program, we have about 450 people that register, both online and physically. So, but the number must have gone up because we have people that just joined today. So what we are trying to do now, the first 100 people to download the app, we have opportunity of navigating through what we have. But we also believe in a feedback mechanism. Our alumni should be able to criticize what we have created and tell us, oh, this, and so that at the end of the day, we'll have a very robust and we can call a little top-notch app that all our alumni can use. It's just like Facebook. It's just like WhatsApp. You can do a lot on it. Even the needs of the faculty can also be there. Beneficiary can also say, oh, I'm picking this one on behalf of my department. So all the needs of the department are also be assembled. I think the dean will talk more about that. But I will call on Joseph to please come and let's demonstrate our Saluma, UI Saluma, so that the audience can see. So.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Our esteemed guests in the faculty. Right now, it's our faculty since we are the students of University of Ibadan presently. So I'm just going to quickly brush through this material. It's right now, UI Alumni is in a pre-alpha testing phase. So we are yet to do a proper testing on it, but we are just going to release a pre-alpha testing because of this program. So just a very few users can use it, just navigate through what we have right now, navigate through the features that we have, and give us feedback on what they believe a platform to connect UI alumni and to foster communication between alumni would be. So, can you change the next slide? So I'm just going to go through our problem statement. So these are some of the problems that we found out with the community, UI's alumni community. First is a lack of effective alumni engagement and networking opportunities. We noticed that there is no universal platform for alumni to actually communicate through. There is no universal platform for our alumni to interact with not just the school, but also the students. Because it is very important for students to actually interact with alumni to build their career in the future, or rather to build their career while they are in school and to understand what it is to be a graduate of the University of Ibadan. So also, another problem statement we have is limited access to career development and mentorship resources for alumni and ineffective communication and information sharing with alumni. And based on these problems, we decided to create a solution that will be managed internally in the school and also by university students to help provide a stable solution for these problems. So some of the key features in the application right now are feed and status updates. This basically allows alumni to post feeds, and post status on career opportunities, events that they believe they want other members of the community to know about. It also allows the alumni, how would I say this? Okay, so it also allows like the administrators of the alumni community to actually post events. Events like this can easily be broadcasted on the platform. This allows communication to be very, very effective. Another feature that we have on the application is threads and groups. This allows alumni to be able to, because we as students, we actually know that, oh, while you are a student in the University of Ibadan, you actually have some people that you have connections with. You have friends, you have classmates that many people don't actually stay connected after they leave the university. So we are trying to bring those relationships back, which is why we have the threads and groups feature. It allows alumni to be able to communicate with their old friends, old acquaintances, and just revive some lost relationships. Also, igniting conversation. So this allows conversations to flow in a very natural way. We are establishing features that will just allow you to be able to communicate naturally, not in this formal method that we have in some platforms. And finally, announcements and events, which is one of the most important features because it allows the administrators of the alumni community to announce events and communicate with its members effectively. So, can you go to the next slide? Now, right now, as I said, it's not a release per se, it's a pre-alpha testing release. We just wanted to leverage on this event to present the application. Basically, it's dough in an oven. It's not yet baked, but we just wanted to leverage this platform to just present the application. So right now, we are done with the user interface design. We are still working on the back end and server side, and we are also going to be presenting the application in two major platforms, the web and mobile platforms. So we'll be presenting it in both web and mobile platforms to ensure that anyone can join the community and just to foster effective communication. So can you go to the next slide? We have a few screenshots from the application right now. This is the mobile application. And We see here the onboarding page, the sign-in page, or rather the login page, the chat page, and how the events page will look. So, on to the next slide. So I'm just going to thank you all very much for your time. And to join the alpha release, you can visit the websites displayed on the screen. Thank you very much, everyone.
Yeah, thank you, Joseph. I think the team, we have them. I think they are somewhere up there. Because of our time, we will not want you to demonstrate it now, but that link, you can go, but the first 100 people will be able to navigate and do whatever they want to do within the listing. First of all, I also appreciate the lecturers who are also with us. I want to thank Dr. Ayinla from Computer Science. Please, thank you very much, because we are together just to make this thing happen, because it's not easy. The students just finished exam, and we have to give them time to do their exam. Also, Professor Akinola, who is a co-chair, please, thank you very much for most of the time when other students have, that's why I call them smart students, because they are brilliant and intelligent. They still want to do extra things rather than just go home and sleep. So I really appreciate you. Like what you said, sir, the Faculty of Science students, I believe they are coming up, and this is an eyes opener for them, and they will go back, and in the next 2 months, the whole package will be ready, and all alumni can give us feedback so that we can actually package the UI Saluma app. So thank you very much for your audience. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, sir. Now I'm going to call the next 2 items, will be done by one, but they will first of all come in his capacity as the Dean, Faculty of Science, to speak on Faculty of Science needs, and thereafter in his capacity as the Acting Vice Chancellor to give the VC remarks. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ladipo. Let me first and foremost appreciate our guest lecturer, Dr. Fatono. That was a wonderful presentation. A round of applause for him, please. Let me also appreciate our students, because I always say that if these students are not here, this is a university anyway, it is not a research institute. Being a university, if the students are not here, we won't be here. A round of applause for our students, please. I listened carefully on the launching of the Saluma app, and the chairperson, Professor Enyola, he had been discussing this with me. What I can assure you, sir, is that we have started something great in the Faculty of Science, and we will surely build on it. Beyond Saluma, we will make use of all available social media to be able to propagate the alumni relation in the Faculty of Science, University of Ibadan. Because we realize that life is give and take. It shouldn't be a one-way thing. When Professor Enyola was discussing the Saluma, he talked about the issue of the need of the system, the need of the faculty, the need of the university. Then he ended up with the need of the alumni. Extremely crucial, because we realize that even as an alumnus, you are out there, there are times that you need certain things from the university. There should be a way by which you should be able to relate and interact with us. So it's not every time that we say, alumni, we need money. When alumni now need something, they say, no, you have left the University of Ibadan. Go through the normal protocol. I think some of these things we can go around them. When Professor Olayinka was reading the citation of Dr. Fatono, there was a sentence I keyed in on there. He said Dr. Fatono is passionate about knowledge sharing. And sir, the motto of the Faculty of Science has not changed. The motto is still question, but not answered, create knowledge. It's only when you keep on asking questions, the answers come, knowledge come, then we can share that knowledge. I key in on to this, we are trying as much as possible to get back to our rightful position as the first Faculty of Science in Nigeria. A lot of things has happened. When you are talking about funding, sir, once in a while we do ask ourselves, okay, there must be chemical in the lab, there must be an instrument in the lab, this must be done, that must be done. Somebody has to pay for this. This is extremely important. Either you ask the government to pay, or you ask the parent to pay, or the student, whichever way. But the fact remains that somebody has to pay for this. If there is no payment, be rest assured that nothing will happen. And that is a situation we have found ourselves today. One thing I can assure you, sir, and the numerous alumni that are listening to us is that we have taken the advice that you have given. Be rest assured, or like we used to say in the church, as it is, our life is no longer the same again. This is a statement of fact. Our life in the university, especially in the public university, is no longer the same again. And once it's no longer the same again, that means there must be a paradigm shift onto the next level to be able to make sure that we still remain here. We are still being paid salary, but every other things that surrounds this are not coming. And as such, things are not going the way it's supposed to go. In the Faculty of Science, we would like to leverage on your support of your colleagues, support of your friends, and support of alumni. I have a very long list here, sir. It's a long list. How many pages now? About 5 pages. We are doing this because of you, because we are trying to establish a world-class laboratory. We are trying to establish a world-class Faculty of Science, so that when you say science in Nigeria, Ibadan comes first. That's why my colleagues were so passionate, they put all this together. I think one of the things we will do, as soon as the app is ready, and on also all the other social media that we are going to use, sir, we will put all these needs there, apart from the fact that I will discuss some things this morning. May I also say, sir, that alumni has assisted us a lot in this faculty, but Oliver Twist always asks for more. As we are today, the alumni of the Faculty of Science has his own bank account. I'm sure you know what that means, sir. So that invariably, if they have money to do things for the faculty, it's devoid of being tampered with by the usual government bureaucracy. I would like us to note this. I have the bank details here, but I would like to let you know, sir, for us to be able to do good science, for us to be able to manage very well, energy is extremely important. Power source is extremely important. As we are in this lecture hall, this lecture is, we are using generator. It's deliberate. Though we had IBEDC supplied this morning, but nobody is sure. It's not impossible that while your lecture was going on that the thing will go off. Nobody wants to suffer embarrassment. And as a result of that, we place this on generator. That means buying diesel. It's no longer sustainable. As a result of that, sir, we would like to plead with you, with your colleagues, your friends, alumni. The main faculty building, which is the very next one after this, and this particular lecture hall, we are looking for a possibility of alternative power supply. And from the information that I got yesterday, I learned that if we have a 15 kVA solar power for this place and for that building, it's going to assist a lot in the Dean's office. That is one, sir. Professor Olayinka is here. I'm always happy each time I see him. There is one big legacy that he has left for us in the Faculty of Science. Dr. Fatona, sir, just at the back of the Dean's office is a new building. I'm sure probably you will see it in the program. That new building, it's a 2018 zonal intervention building. You know, it was midwife by Professor Olayinka when he was living as the Vice Chancellor. It's a big legacy that he has given the Faculty of Science. The building was handed over to a round of applause for him, please. We weren't sure, let me be sincere, Prof, with all apologies, sir, we weren't sure that that building would stand. Because just like Oga knows, we have several buildings like that. But somehow, this was done within record time. I think in a matter of 1 year, of just 1 year plus, we have everything there. And it was handed over to us. That building as it is, sir, by the plan, there are 3 floors. The ground floor, purely reading room for the student. We have not started using it. It's purely reading room for the student. The next floor, which is supposed to be our computer room. What do we call it now? It's for the physical sciences, the computational, the mathematical sciences. You know, each time you talk of a laboratory, you think of zoology, you think of botany. But the computational fields, they should also have their laboratory, and that is what that first floor is. Our thinking is that that first floor, if it's loaded with appropriate computers linked with the internet, with its own server, and it can also perform another role, such that, let us assume, there is no power supply in the whole University of Ibadan. For example, the last 2 days we didn't have power supply for 2 continuous days. We can have that building, if it's also provided with alternative solar power panel source, staffs can comfortably come into that place to work. I just want to give you an idea of what the building is for. Then the last floor, it has 2 separate laboratories. One for the biological sciences, I think one for the chemical sciences. They just handed over. But what I'm asking for, sir, on behalf of the faculty, as a starting point, is alternative power source for that same building too. I also got to know that another 15 kVA for that building, solar power panel, that it will solve a lot. The thinking is that if we have, this place is supposed to be for lecture, for example. If students are taking lecture here, if there is no power supply from government, and we have alternative power source, there will be no disruption in their lecture. Management of the faculty from the next building, if there is alternative power source, there won't be any crisis. Then if we are able to sort out the other building at the back, then you can talk of a world-class place where colleagues can work, where students can work, and be rest assured science will be where it is supposed to be. In fact, I think jokingly, we were discussing this morning, somebody even said that we should please plead with alumni and members. A single person can adopt the ground floor and say, okay, that is the reading room. Let me see what I can do to make it appropriate reading room. Another person or 2 or 3 can say, we adopt the next floor. This is what we are going to do. And another person can, okay, the last floor, which is likely to be the most expensive, because that is where we want to try and place some facilities. If you look at the program, sir, towards the back of the program, you will see some equipment listed. I will pick the very first one particularly, the scanning electron microscope. It should be on the page before that one, sir. I will pick the scanning electron microscope. If we are able to have a scanning electron microscope in the Faculty of Science, from the estimate that I have, it ranged between $50,000 to $1 million. But when we check, I think we came up with a rough estimate of 80 million yesterday. If we have a scanning electron microscope in Faculty of Science, it is a facility that can maintain itself, because the use of it cuts across all disciplines in the faculty, and we can even go beyond the University of Ibadan. Another general facility that we also thought of is GCMS, gas chromatography mass spectrometry. Though very expensive, but these are things that if we have in this dedicated laboratory in that building, be rest assured, sir, a lot of things that our students can do, and we'll be able to generate money from that. I need to add something, sir. This laboratory that we have in that building, it is not that we have not done anything as a faculty. I know that the faculty has invested up to the tune of 10 million to buy 2 major things. There is a magnetic facility which is currently located in physics, so that the thing will keep on working. Then we also bought a fluorescence microscope that cost us about 6 million with all the parts. These are meant to go into that laboratory, so that these are things that students can go into to work, and colleagues can also go in there to do so many things. So, sir, this list, as I said, though I divided on developmental basis, we have archaeology, we have from geology, we have from botany, and other departments in the faculty. It's a long list, but I believe we can start somewhere. We are pleading, because that is one of the things that I've learned. You have to learn to advocate so that we'll be able to rub hands together, ourselves and the alumni. We solicit your assistance. We solicit the assistance of your colleagues and friends. And we believe that with time, if this comes to pass, then the next time you come, sir, maybe we will ask you to come and open the laboratory, declare a laboratory open, or declare one of the floor open based on what alumni might have done for us. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, I think I just want to make a comment. I think our living ancestor from Ile-Ife, Professor Rahman, before he came, you know, I already gossiped about him. Because I noticed that the guest lecturer has been a permanent faculty at OAU. And I said it must have been because of the intervention of Professor Rahman. You know, the alumni, just like those 393 that are graduating today, you can give of your time, or your talent, or your treasure. So it's not everything that is about money. Like Professor Rahman, when he was going to turn 70, you know, we have a grab in the Department of Geology, that valley. Professor Rahman decided to come and fill it with his conference room. That's why we have Alumni Rahman, a conference room, Department of Geology. So we thank you so much, sir. And I know that when he's going to turn 80 in the next few years, he's going to give us another Oyawoye. Oyawoye is his father, or was his father. And we are the grandchildren of Oyawoye. When he's going to turn 80, I'm sure he's going to give us something very respectable. I just felt we should acknowledge Professor Rahman himself. We didn't even ask for it, but out of his own volition, he decided to come and build that conference center. You know, it is when you are not famous that they add all sorts of titles. I think we plead with the head of the Department of Geology. Just call that place Rahman Conference Center. Don't add title. Add title to it. It's above titles. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Before your closing remarks, sir, there is something strategic that we want to quickly do. To do that, I will be inviting Professor Yoronke Odunola. Let's celebrate her, please. She is going to be helping the faculty to make a presentation to our guest lecturer today. And I believe that is prepared. Please, ma, you can come forward, sir. I want to also respectfully bring you forward to the podium for the presentation.
Sir, on behalf of the Faculty of Science, University of Ibadan, I present this award of excellence to you today for being our guest lecturer at the Maiden edition of the Faculty of Science 2023 Alumni Lecture. Thank you very much for that wonderful delivery. Also this, sir. Oh, my.
If you are clapping, please clap very well. Thank you, ma, and thank you, sir. Without wasting time, I'd like to... Okay. Without wasting time, I'd like to bring forward the Dean, who is also wearing two caps, like it was mentioned before, to give the closing remark. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Now, I will now have to think like the Vice Chancellor. First and foremost, I want to recognize Professor Oman Abdurrahman. The first time I met him, it was at the Department of Geology. He's an emeritus professor. Good to see you again, Prof. Thank you for honoring us. The Lord will continue to strengthen you. I also recognize Professor Taiwo Ajayi. Thank you very much for coming, sir. As I said earlier on, the Vice Chancellor is on an official assignment at Abuja, and he has asked me to say something on his behalf. I remember he told me that, don't worry, Dean of Science, the way you guys are going in the Faculty of Science, especially with the alumni relation, I'm sure the sky will be the limit. Just about a week ago, the University of Ibadan had an orientation program for the Alumni Relation Committee. We have Alumni Association at the University of Ibadan. That one is there. But when the current Vice Chancellor and the entire management, they recognize the lacuna, because that lacuna is there. The University of Ibadan is a big brand, but as it is, it appears as if we are not making use of that brand very well. So when they recognize the lacuna, one of the things that he did recently is to establish an office of alumni relation. And that alumni relation has cascaded down up to the department, such that we have representatives here and there. The very first thing that was done was orientation for them. Incidentally, I represented the DVC ACAD at that orientation program last week. And I saw the resource person that they brought in to be able to discuss with our colleagues on the way to go about it. Sir, that is also one big thing that is coming from the University of Ibadan. I can assure you that with the way that we are going, our relationship with our alumni certainly is becoming different. And that handshake that we were supposed to have up to now, we will have it more and better than the way it was before. Then I remember that there was an advice by Professor Rahman that what we have done today, that we should make it an annual event. What I can assure you, as the Dean and as representative of the VC, we have started something good today, and with the committee that we have on ground, this is going to be an annual event, and we keep on rolling it on and on like that. The way things are, I still remember the VC said, well, we are in a way whereby we have to look for money to be able to sustain the system, and we must evolve strategies, different strategies to be able to get funds so as to keep the system going, so as also to be able to train our students for them to be where they are supposed to be. Part of what we are to do is what we are seeing now, the alumni-university relationship. We are trying to build that town and gown relationship as much as possible. I can only promise you that with the current management in the University of Ibadan, things are no longer the same, because our lives are no longer the same, as I said before, and the strategies we are putting in place will also make things to work for us in the University of Ibadan. Let me use this opportunity to thank the immediate past Vice Chancellor, Professor Olayinka, the representative of the VVC ACAD, Professor Yorunke Odunola, the Dean-elect, the Chairman of the Alumni Relation, and our guest lecturer, Dr. Lai Fatono. Thank you very much for blessing us. It's a big blessing for the Faculty of Science. And I can also assure you, as we are, whatever we are doing is being streaming live, both on Zoom and on YouTube. That you can always get. But this one, we also try as much as possible to circulate it so that people can also, those who are not here, can also benefit from the lecture. On behalf of the entire management of the University of Ibadan, I want to thank each and every one of us for making it a day with the Faculty of Science of this great University of Ibadan. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now it's time for the vote of thanks. I will now invite the faculty officer, Mr. Dede, to please come and give the vote of thanks. Appreciate her, please.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. First and foremost, on behalf of the faculty, the dean, staff and students of this great faculty, Faculty of Science, first off, I would like to thank God Almighty for making this day a reality and for making it a huge success. I believe you will all agree with me that it has indeed been a huge success. I would like to start from the high table. And the first person on the high table is our alumni lecturer, Dr. Olayiwola Fatono. Thank you very much, sir, for that insightful and well-articulated lecture. God will continue to renew your strength. And also, My thanks goes to the alumni executive, ably led by Professor Enyola. Thank you very much, sir, for making this program a huge success. You are highly appreciated. Then, our immediate past VC, Professor Abel Idowu Olayinka. You are highly appreciated, sir. Thank you for honoring our invitation. Then my dean, who is wearing 2 caps today, as the acting VC and the dean of the Faculty of Science. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for putting up a program like this. You are highly appreciated. The Lord will continue to renew your strength. Then the DVC academic, ably represented by Professor Oyerunke Odunla. She's dubbing 2 caps also as the acting DVC ACAD and the substantive dean of Faculty of Basic Medical Sciences. Thank you very much, ma. We thank you. And the next in line, my incoming dean, Professor Shonibare. Thank you very much, sir. And next to him is the representative of ND Western. Thank you very much, sir, for being a part of this success and the history made today. You are highly appreciated. Then I go to the high table on this side. All our living ancestors, Professor Rahman, Professor Ajayi, and all the others that I may not be able to mention your names. You are highly appreciated for making out time to be a part of history that is made today. We thank you very much, sir. The Lord will continue to renew your strength. Thank you very much, sir. And from there, I'll go to all the faculty alumni, both in Nigeria and in the diaspora, for supporting this lecture. We say a big thank you to all of you. We pray that the Lord will continue to provide for you and bless you. Thank you very much. All the sub-deans in the house, you are highly appreciated. All HODs, you are here present. We thank you for all that you do and for your support. All professors in the house, we thank you for gracing this occasion with your presence. The director of UHS, we thank you, ma, for taking out time out of your busy schedules to be a part of us today. A round of applause for her, please. All other academic staff here present, we thank you for your time. All our invited guests, we say a big thank you to you. You are highly appreciated. All other faculty staff here present, all other academic staff here present, we thank you all for being a part of this program. All the people in the Dean's office, the staff of the Dean's office, we thank you all. All graduating students, you have been wonderful. A round of applause for yourselves. We thank you very much. The media crew, the technical crew, we say a big thank you to all of you. I wish us all a safe journey back to our destinations and all the best in our future endeavors. Thank you once again and good afternoon to you all.
A good job well done, but left out someone or some people. It's a normal thing. Traditionally, they will always leave out the MC. Dr. Yemakin, please come. So please appreciate my co-presenter, Dr. O.S. Oyemakin, and myself, Oladipo Okunle. Thank you so much. It's now time for the anthem. The school anthem first. Please don't go. Let's honor our school. The school anthem first, and then the national anthem. Shall we rise, please?
Spring for all who
Thank you. Thank you. Let's put it hands together for ourselves. Thank you so much. The photo section will be as follows. Please, those members of the high table should please remain where they are. And while we have our living ancestor come forward for the photo session. Yes, sir. And the HODs and our living ancestors again, together with the members of the high table, should please converge at the boardroom after the photo session, please. Thank you so much for coming. God bless you. The photographers, please, let's quickly do this. Yes, sir, you can just maintain. So you take them like this, then